Once upon a time, in a quiet village nestled at the edge of a dark, ancient forest, there lived a boy named Jack, who lived with his widowed mother in a small, run-down cottage. Life had been hard on them ever since Jack's father had passed away, leaving behind a farm burdened with debt. As time passed, they sold almost everything they owned, and still they found themselves with barely enough to eat. Their only possession of any value left was a frail old cow named Daisy, who gave just enough milk to keep them from going hungry. One chilly morning, after realizing they had nothing left to sell, Jack's mother, with a heavy heart and tearful eyes, asked Jack to take Daisy to the market and sell her. She knew it would break Jack's heart, because Daisy had been his closest companion since he was a little boy. But there was no other choice. "Jack, my dear," she said, her voice breaking, "we have to survive. Please take Daisy to the market and get a good price for her. It is the only way we can buy some food." Jack's heart ached as he put a rope around Daisy's neck and began the slow, painful journey to the market. Along the way, memories of his father flooded his mind. How they would laugh and play together, and how his father always found a way to make everything seem okay, even when times were tough. Jack missed him terribly. As he walked, he couldn't help but feel a sense of loss, not just of his father, but of everything his family had once had. On his way, Jack met a mysterious old man who seemed to appear out of nowhere. The man had a kind, knowing smile and twinkling eyes that seemed to see right through Jack. "Where are you off to, young lad?" the man asked. Jack explained that he was taking Daisy to the market to sell her, so he and his mother could afford some food. The old man listened thoughtfully, and then said, "I have something much better than money to offer you." He reached into his pocket and pulled out 5 glistening, colourful beans. They shimmered in the sunlight, almost as if they were glowing. "Magic beans," the man said softly, "the likes of which you've never seen. Plant them, and they will grow beyond your wildest dreams." Jack was skeptical, but also intrigued. The man spoke with such certainty, and his eyes seemed so sincere. Jack hesitated, thinking of his mother's tearful eyes, and how disappointed she would be if he returned without money. But something in the old man's voice made him believe. Maybe, just maybe, this was their chance. He handed over the rope to Daisy and took the beans, knowing he might be making a terrible mistake. When Jack returned home and showed his mother the beans, her face turned pale with shock. "You did what?" she cried, her voice choked with disbelief. "You traded our only cow for a handful of beans. How could you, Jack?" Tears welled up in her eyes, and she turned away, her shoulders trembling as she sobbed. Jack felt his heart sink. He had never seen his mother so broken. Desperate to make things right, he tried to assure her. "They're magic beans, Mother." The man said they would bring us more than we could ever imagine. But his words felt hollow, and his mother's tears didn't stop. In her frustration, she threw the beans out the window and went to bed without another word, leaving Jack alone with his guilt and regret. That night, Jack barely slept. He lay awake, staring at the ceiling, feeling the weight of his mother's sorrow and his own foolishness. He could hear the wind howling outside, as if it were echoing his fears. When dawn finally broke, Jack stumbled to the window, his eyes heavy with sleeplessness, and what he saw made him gasp. There, where the beans had landed, was a beanstalk, a gigantic, twisting green tower that reached all the way up into the clouds. It was unlike anything Jack had ever seen. It seemed to pulse with life, and as Jack looked up, he felt a strange pull, like the beanstalk was calling out to him. Jack's heart raced. Maybe it really is magic, he whispered to himself, hope sparking within him. Without another thought, he grabbed his coat and began to climb. Higher and higher he went, his hands gripping the thick, sturdy vines as he rose above the village, above the trees, and even above the clouds. It was a dizzying journey, but Jack felt a thrill of excitement, as if he were chasing a dream. After what felt like hours, he reached the top, and there he found something incredible. A massive, shimmering castle, standing alone on a cloud. The castle was grand, with golden spires and windows that sparkled in the sunlight. But there was something eerie about it, too, as if it had been untouched for years. Jack cautiously approached the enormous doors, which creaked open with a loud groan. Inside, everything was larger than life. Tables, chairs, even the chandeliers. Jack realized he was in a giant's home. His heart pounded, but his curiosity pushed him forward. As he explored the grand halls, he came across a room filled with treasures. Bags of gold coins, glittering jewels, and a hen that clucked softly while laying a golden egg. Jack could hardly believe his eyes. With trembling hands, he picked up one of the bags of coins and rushed back to the beanstalk. He climbed down as fast as he could, and when he showed the gold to his mother, she was stunned. For the first time in a long while, she smiled, and it felt like a ray of sunshine breaking through a stormy sky. They could finally buy food, pay off their debts, and maybe even repair their cottage. Jack felt a sense of pride and relief, thinking he had made things right. But as the days went by, Jack's mind kept returning to the castle above the clouds. The wealth they had from the gold coins wouldn't last forever, and he remembered the other treasures he had seen. So he decided to climb the beanstalk once more. This time, he took the magical hen, knowing it could provide endless wealth by laying golden eggs. When he brought it down, his mother was overjoyed, but she also felt a pang of worry. "Jack, I don't want to lose you to this madness. Promise me you'll be careful," she said. Jack nodded, but deep down, he knew he wasn't done yet. The third time Jack climbed the beanstalk, he felt more confident, almost fearless. But when he sneaked into the castle and took the golden harp, he heard a deep, thunderous voice echoing through the halls. "Fee, fee, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman." The giant was awake. Jack's heart stopped. He had never felt fear like this before. The giant was massive, his footsteps shaking the entire castle as he stormed towards Jack. The harp, as if sensing danger, began to play a mournful, desperate melody. Jack grabbed the harp and ran, his heart pounding, his legs trembling. As Jack climbed down the beanstalk with the giant chasing him, he could hear the thunderous roar above him, getting louder and louder. When he reached the bottom, he called out to his mother, "Get the axe!" Quickly! With all his strength, Jack swung the axe at the beanstalk, chopping at the thick, green stalk. The giant was almost upon him, but just as he reached down to grab Jack, the beanstalk began to sway and then crashed down to the ground, taking the giant with it. There was a deafening thud, and then silence. Jack stood there, breathless, his hands shaking. He looked up to see his mother running towards him, tears streaming down her face. She held him tightly, and Jack realized how close he had come to losing everything. The beanstalk lay in ruins, and the castle above the clouds was gone forever. But Jack and his mother had each other, and that was worth more than all the gold and treasure in the world. From that day on, Jack and his mother lived a comfortable life, but they never forgot the lessons they had learned. Jack learned that true courage wasn't just about facing danger. It was about knowing when to take risks and when to be grateful for what you have. And he realized that sometimes the most precious things in life aren't the ones you can steal or buy, but the ones you carry in your heart. And so, they lived happily ever after, with the magic harp's gentle music filling their home, a reminder of the adventures that had brought them together and the love that would keep them strong.